Most people think the only way to make real money as a software engineer is to build something, like an app, SaaS, or an AI tool. But that's just one of the 6 paths, and not even the easiest one. So in this video, I'll break down a simple framework, 2 ways software engineers turn skill into money, and 6 specific strategies that can take you to $1 million. I'll also show you a scorecard that maps each path by effort and likelihood, so you can stop guessing and start picking the one that actually fits you. Hi, my name is Sam. I've worked in AI and software inside Fortune 100 companies and built systems at scale. Along the way, I've seen what actually leads to 1 million as a software engineer and what doesn't. This is the playbook I wish someone gave me earlier. So whether you're preparing for your first job or looking to grow in your career, hit subscribe so you can get real-world advice that you can apply right away. Before we jump into 6 strategies, it helps to shift how you're thinking about this. Most engineers start by asking, should I freelance, build an app, join a startup? But the better question is, what am I actually trading? A or B? One of those you have a fixed supply of, and the other, in theory, unlimited. That single distinction changes everything: how you choose your path, what skills you develop, and how fast you can get to 1 million. So let's start with the first strategy. Last year, I met a developer at a conference, mid-30s, sharp, experienced. He had worked at 3 different companies, negotiated raises each single time, and was making close to $500,000 a year. He said it with pride, but also with a pause. It's great money, but I can't stop. I'm always optimizing my compensation and not freedom. And that stuck with me. This is what it looks like when you sell your time. You trade skill for income, and the better your skill, the higher the rate. But the meter only runs when you do. Still, this strategy can absolutely take you to 1 million, especially if you play it right. So let's walk through the first way engineers apply this strategy. Tactic number 1, earn salary. Most engineers default to this path, but few actually maximize it. The assumption is, if I work hard, the raise will come. But hitting $300K in salary doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of rare skills stacked inside the right system. Here is how people get into this path. They specialize early, not just in writing code, but in solving expensive, complex problems. Think infrastructure at scale, security in industries, production-grade AI systems. Then they join companies that actually reward that kind of work. Typically mid to large tech firms with structured compensation and stock options. They stay long enough to stack promotions, reputation, and RSUs. And by year 5 and 6, they're earning more than many founders. So if you make $300K a year and invest $100K annually at the 7% return, you will hit 1 million in just under 8 years. And that's the cause-effect loop most people actually miss. So high income isn't enough. It's what you do with the gap between earnings and lifestyle. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most likely and 1 being the least likely to hit 1 million, the likelihood of this path working is actually 8 out of 10, provided you stick with the company and invest consistently. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the easiest and 1 being the hardest, the ease level is 7. Not because it's simple, but because the system already exists. Your job is to pick the right ladder intentionally and avoid burning out chasing status signals like your next Benz or BMW. This is the cleanest path to 1 million. But now let's flip the trade and see what happens when you stop selling time for cash and start trading it for ownership. The interesting part is this path looks just like a job on the surface, but underneath, it's actually a bet. You're still writing code, still solving problems, but instead of getting paid fully in cash, you're accepting stock and hoping it turns into something meaningful much later on. To get into this path, you usually join a startup early on, often a Series A. The trade-off is you get lower salary now in exchange for a slice of ownership that might be worth a lot more in the future. And here is the math. If you earn 1% equity, and the company exits at 100 million, that's 1 million before taxes and dilution. Even a 0.25% can be significant if the exit happens. But the problem is most engineers underestimate how long that can take and how uncertain it really is. The likelihood of this path reaching 1 million is about 5 out of 10. Most startups don't exit. Some go sideways for years, and some make it just without you there long enough to vest. It's not easy to achieve and stands at 3 out of 10, 10 being super easy. You need to assess the team, the cap structure, your risk tolerance, and be willing to wait. This isn't about monthly paycheck. It's about staying in the game long enough to see it through. If this is helping you out, please like and subscribe. It tells me to make more videos like this. And if you got a question or a different take, drop it in the comments. I'm always curious to see what you think. Next tactic is the most flexible version of selling your time. You still trade time for money, but you control the rate, the clients, and the calendar. To get into this path, you usually start with a specific in-demand skill like automation, AI integration, speed optimization, anything companies will pay for but don't want to hire full-time. The fastest way is through your network, your past colleagues, agencies, or small business owners. Don't be fooled by marketplaces like Upwork or Fiverr. Real money comes from long-term clients who trust you to solve real problems. Here is the math. If you charge $150 an hour, work 25 billable hours a week, and then stay booked for 48 weeks, that's $180K a year. Now increase your rate or hours and you can break easily $250K. Without a team, without a product, the likelihood of hitting 1 million this way is around 7 out of 10. Especially if you treat it like a business and not a side hustle. The ease of achieving is around 5 out of 10. It's easier to start but harder to scale. You're responsible for everything, including finding work, delivering, and managing your energy. Freelancing gives you freedom, but only if you build the systems to protect it. After years of freelancing, one of my friends finally hit 250K in income, but he was exhausted. Every new project meant starting from scratch, new client, new scope, and new late nights. And one day he said something. It's weird, I'm making more than ever and it still feels like a job. I can't quit. That's when he started looking for leverage. Not more clients, not more hours, just more ways to get paid without doing more. And that's the shift. Instead of trading time, you start capturing value through assets, insights, or distribution. You might still use the same skills, but the structure is different. You're no longer paid for the hours you work. You're paid for the value you create or the systems you build once and sell multiple times. And that's where scale and flexibility finally show up. The work still takes effort, but now the payoff can compound. Let's break down the 3 ways engineers can do this, starting with the most obvious: building something people are willing to pay for, building tangible products. This is the classic solo route. You build something once and it keeps working even when you're not. To get onto this path, you don't need a big idea, just a specific pain and a small working product that solves it. And that could be a niche SaaS tool, an AI agent, a browser extension, or a mobile app. The key is to solve something that feels annoying to someone else and then charge for it. Here is the math. If you build a product that makes $200 per month, you are at $24K a year. Now build 3 to 4 of these products. Now you're built an $100K asset. If you hold or reinvest for a few years or sell at a multiple of 3 to 5 times, that's your path to 1 million. The likelihood of success here is 4 out of 10. Not because it's impossible, but because most people build before they validate or quit before traction hits. It's not easy. It requires persistence and the ability to handle silence for long stretches. But if you get this right, you stop selling your time. And if this all feels a bit overwhelming, I get it. I've been right where you are. That's why I put together a free guide and worksheet to help you figure out the best role for you and prep without wasting weeks on stuff you don't need. Grab it from the link in the description. It's totally free, and honestly, it will save you a ton of time. Now, what if instead of building, you help someone else build? I get it. This could cause confusion in your mind. Am I back to selling my time? And that's what the next tactic, which is building an advisory or consulting system, is all about. To get into this path, you need a skill that businesses pay for repeatedly, like technical strategy, architecture, design, and so on. But instead of billing hourly, you turn your insight into a system. For example, your systems of workshop, audits, or playbooks that deliver value without constant hands-on work by you. Here is the math. 5 clients paying you $2,000 a month for ongoing advisory leads to $120K a year. Add a quarterly cohort or a private session package at $5K, and you can easily break 6 figures. Now, if you maintain your reputation and a small system around it, you can build something that scales. The likelihood of reaching 1 million this way is about 6 out of 10, especially if you already have a credibility or niche expertise. Ease of success is 4 out of 10. You need trust, not just skill. So let's switch to tactic number 6, which is building a teaching system. Now, this is a path where you don't just use your knowledge, you actually make a product out of it. That could mean a course, a newsletter, a YouTube channel, or a paid community. What matters is the shift from knowing something useful to teaching it in a way others can use. To get into this path, start with the question you have already answered, something you have done, struggled through, or built well. Then teach that process clearly and repeatedly. Start small, for example, a 30-minute workshop, a blog series, a training course. And here is the math. 1,000 people paying $100 per person leads to $100K, or 200 people paying $500 each for a focused session, or 50 companies paying $2,000 a year for a private access to your content. The likelihood of hitting 1 million this way is about 6 out of 10. Higher if you already enjoy writing, speaking, or building in public. The ease is 5 out of 10. It takes time, feedback, and the ability to stick with it, even when the growth is slow. It's one of the few paths where your ideas keep earning long after you've moved on. Now let's look at all of these options all at once. At first glance, it feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? Building a product, often seen as an ultimate path to wealth, shows up as the hardest and least likely to hit 1 million. Meanwhile, earning a salary ranks as the easiest and more reliable. So how do we explain this conundrum? The answer is in the goal. We're talking about reaching 1 million, a meaningful milestone, but not an extraordinary one. At that level, consistency beats leverage. The system already exists, like a job with a bonus and RSUs. But what if the target was bigger? If we plotted this same chart for a 100 million goal, the curve would actually flip. Suddenly, the product building and equity would move up. So what do you think the 100 million plot would look like? I want you to add your comments in the comment section below. But even if you're not ready for 100 million and want to start with a salary path to 1 million, I've put together a step-by-step course that breaks it all down. Click in the link below and check it out. I'll see you there.